Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kay. I'm a photographer in LA in Orange County, California, and this is how I got started and my tips for you. So basically I'm gonna start off with I am 17 years old. I'm based out of Los Angeles in Orange County, California, and I'm very fortunate to live where I do live because I know that that is something that has contributed greatly to my career and my success. As I wouldn't call it success really, but it contributes a lot to what I do, and because I love what I do, I'm very passionate about what I do. Definitely something I can see myself doing for the rest of my life, and that is what I'm so grateful for, that I have so many opportunities here. I'm gonna start off with how long I've been shooting. I've been shooting since 6th grade. I'm now a senior in high school, class of 2020, which is kind of a rough thing to talk about right now. I have been shooting for almost 6 years. However, I didn't really take it seriously until last year, March of 2019. I didn't take it seriously. I didn't really think that it was just like a hobby to me before that, and I was still really passionate about it. It was really something that I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do it for the rest of my life, even if it didn't pay. I currently shoot with the Sony a7 II with a 50mm lens, but when I actually first picked up like a real camera, it was actually a film camera. It's a Canon EOS film camera. I think it was a Rebel series. Then I finally switched to digital, and it was a Canon EOS T5 with a kit lens. So I didn't really like have anything, and they weren't my own either. Like, if I'm gonna be honest, I didn't shoot with my own, I didn't have my own camera until May of 2019. So the 24th of this month is actually 1 year of when I had my camera, and I use Photoshop and Lightroom to edit. Now I'm gonna like talk about when I started to take it seriously and why I did. My first camera was actually a Panasonic Lumix camera, and I had no clue how to use it at all. I would mainly just shoot on auto. I never really got the chance to take a photography class until my freshman year of high school, and that was actually why I chose to go to the high school that I did go to, because they offered a photography class, which was really important to me because I went into high school knowing that that's what I wanted to do. Basically, I took photography for all 3 years that they like allowed it. So we had photography 1, 2, photography 3, 4, and then you just jump to AP photography because there's nothing really like in 5, 6. And that is when I first picked up a camera and knew how to use all manual settings, and that class changed my entire life because I had so much creative control. So then when we got to digital photography, I was able to use the Canon EOS T5, and I would borrow it literally every weekend, and I would shoot and shoot and shoot. I decided to take AP photography, and that's really when my passion for photography launched off, I suppose. At my school, we have these things called like our senior projects. So my friend was doing concert photography for her senior project, and as long as I can remember, I've been going to concerts. And I love concerts, I love music, I love the music scene. I've never not been a fan of the music scene. And so when I found out that, oh, like you could be a concert photographer and really like incorporate them into each other, I was like, that's what I want to do that. So I hit her up and I was like, hey, I know that you started concert photography, do you mind helping me out trying to figure out how to do it? And so she did, and it was really sick. Like, I'm so grateful that she was willing. And so the first concert I shot, I really enjoyed and I thought was so amazing, and I can't believe that I've come so far from one concert. If you don't know, in AP photography or any AP studio art class, well, this was last year. This year they like changed the rules, but last year there was this thing, you would have your portfolio and you would have a concentration and you'd have a breadth. Your concentration is something that has it's 12 images or 12 like paintings or whatever, like all had a connection, like they all conveyed the same emotion, they all had the same meaning, they all had like the same like concept. Like, however, my concentration was concert photography, so I would shoot concerts, and like that's how I got my press pass. So I originally started out with no portfolio at all. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. My portfolio was literally a Google album. Emailed the Driver Era. They were the first person that I like reached out to. I was a huge fan of Ross Lynch, and I was like, oh, like that would be so dope to like be able to shoot his show. And like, I already had a ticket, I had everything. I got denied, and I got denied from a lot of people. And then I emailed this one band who was opening for the Driver Era, and they're called Moon Tower. They're one of my greatest friends now. I'm so thankful for them. But I emailed their manager and I said, hey, I'm an AP photography student in LA, and I would be so grateful to shoot this show, and I would love the opportunity to work with you. And she said yes, and I'm so freaking grateful that she said yes, because without her giving me a chance, like, I literally think I would have given up. I just continued to send out emails constantly. I finally decided to make a website. I never ever took a break. Like, I would constantly get into these like weird creative ruts, and I would feel like I didn't want to shoot anything ever, and I couldn't come up with any concepts or anything. And that's when I would push myself the hardest to shoot something, and I would take my camera everywhere. Basically, my tips and tricks for like photographers. My first tip is that I definitely recommend taking any and every class in your area if you have the chance. A majority of them are free if you like take the class at a community college. My community college offers them, but I know that some people don't. But if you can't afford it and you do have to pay, I think it's a really great investment if this is what you want to do. My next tip is definitely learn the mechanics of a camera. If you don't know the mechanics of a camera, it's going to be really hard to be a photographer and charge when you're just shooting on auto, because in that aspect, anyone could really be a photographer. Shoot everything. I was very persistent in what I shot, even though I had no clue what I was doing at first. It was definitely something that I had to practice. When it comes to how I got to where I am, it's definitely connections. Get connected, literally. It sounds a lot harder than it is, but I promise you that it's not as difficult as a lot of people think it is. If you're trying to be a concert photographer and you do get your first photo pass, literally introduce yourself to everyone there, because you have no idea who knows who. You might be talking to the owner of the venue for all you know. And then you will have to shoot for free for a little bit, like to build your portfolio. People start reaching out to you, and then that's when you're like, hey, here are my rates. I definitely think that building your portfolio with free work helps you build confidence to like start charging. However, if you're confident with charging from the beginning, by all means do so. I just didn't feel confident in the beginning. And I do want to add that if you give out your rates and they're like, oh, never mind, like, or like, could you go lower? Don't ever go lower. Just because someone is not willing to pay for your time doesn't mean like other people aren't. It might take a while, but someone will be willing to pay for your time and your talent. And that's something that I needed to learn. In the long run, doing work for free paid off. Wherever you are, I'm sure that there are local bands in your area. You just kind of have to get involved. Once again, I am very fortunate to live in Orange County, where there is a very huge local scene. A lot of artists are emerging and they just need publicity and need photographers. It's really good to shoot local shows if you're trying to work up to bigger shows, because managers of artists who are bigger will know that you know your way around the camera and are able to take good photos. So then when it comes to photo passes, I definitely recommend working with local publications or magazines. For portraits, my first tip is to shoot with your friends to begin figuring out your style. Personally, I like editorial. I personally work with a company called Z-Star Digital Agency, and it's basically a bunch of like TikTokers and creators and like social influencers who create content for the internet. And I'm just an in-house photographer. Working with smaller companies that are on the rise really helps, because I reach out to a lot of like TikTokers that I find on my For You page. I like have a feeling we'll be getting a following soon, so it's easier to reach out to creators when they're smaller because they'll look at their DMs more. Free meetups are legit. Like, go to free meetups with like actual creators that are well known. Bring your camera to this. I always bring my camera and I always take photos. Also, this is a lot easier said than done because I personally struggle with it a lot. But if you know someone is like famous or well known, do not be afraid to go up to them and be like, hey, can I snap a photo of you? Especially if you have like a professional camera, because they'll be like, oh sure, like, because people like to feel important is what I have come to conclusion. No matter what field of photography you do, finding mentors is very important, because when you have questions about what to do or like how to do it, you need someone more successful to be able to ask questions and feel comfortable with when it comes to that. Personally, my mentors are at Sid Trip on Instagram. She's really sick. She's very involved in my local scene. I love her. But also Linda Wang. Her is at the Linda Wang Photography. For my concert story and like tips and tricks, like I said before, I started with like the intent of my AP portfolio and I was just building that, and that's how I got into concerts. But then once my year ended, I couldn't really say that anymore. I eventually built up enough content to say that, hey, like, I'm a young aspiring photographer in California, and I made my own website, and that was really helpful. So building up your portfolio is something really, really important. So please don't ever stop shooting if this is what you're passionate about. Always offer to buy a ticket if you are younger, because you don't want to make it seem like you're just trying to get into this concert for free, and you have to make it clear that you're not trying to get in for free, which is really important because I'm sure that management doesn't want to like let free kids in. And my last tip, shoot raw, because then you'll be able to restore things that are lost in the process of shooting. Keep the quality, I guess. My last thing I have to say that is really important, and I will never not tell this to people: create with the intent of art, not with the intent of publicity. So basically what that means is, please do not shoot if you're just trying to become famous. Please don't create art if you're just trying to become famous. If that is what drives you, your heart is probably in it for the wrong reasons. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you for watching this long. I hope you learned something. Please stick with your art if this is what you want to do. Please stick with your art. It is competitive, it can get hard, but it will pay off. And yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want. Leave a comment letting me know what I should change or what you want to see. Yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. I want to talk with you more. I hope you guys have a good day, night, or evening wherever you are. And yeah.